What is going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to learn how to install HashiCorp Nomad and deploy an application once we have our Nomad server up and running. Now, it's going to be very straightforward in terms of the commands that we're going to be using and what we're going to be deploying. This isn't going to be a in-depth installation of Nomad, but it will get you up and running and get an application deployed. That way you can actually work with Nomad, get a feel of Nomad, see if you like it. So first things first, I have a Ubuntu box right here that I just deployed. It's completely clean. I didn't install anything on it. Literally just got Ubuntu up and running here. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to update my box. All right, next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to curl the Nomad release. So just download it pretty much locally. Well, locally as in on the Linux box. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the repository for the Nomad installation. All right, let me go ahead and clear my screen here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an update on the repository. That way, the added repository that I just put in for Nomad is there, and then we're going to install Nomad. All right, so now Nomad is successfully installed on this server. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use a CNI or a container network interface. And if you're familiar with Kubernetes, it's the same concept. It's a plugin or a framework, whatever you'd like to call it, to get networking up and running on our Nomad server. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to install that. Well, download it rather. All right, we can do a quick ls here and we can see that plugin. It's a tar file at the moment. Next, what I want to do is I want to create a new directory to put my CNI installation in. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the tar file that contains the CNI into my bin directory. All right, and then if I just do a quick cd opt CNI bin, actually really quick, let me just do this. All right, I'm at a home mic, so cd opt CNI bin. Oops, sorry, I put a slash there. All right, there we go. If I do an ls here, this is going to be where our networking now exists. So everything that was in that tar file is now here for our CNI. I'm going to go back to home mic, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the Nomad agent. I'm going to use this dev flag here, which means it's like a dev profile almost. So I'm not setting up high availability. This is not production ready, nothing like that. This is just a demo server. And I'm going to bind it on 0000, which is, our local host. Go ahead and I'm going to run that. All right, so now let's go ahead and open up a web browser here. I'm going to go to 192.168.1.20 over port 4646, I think it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expand this a bit, and now our Nomad cluster is up and running. But of course, there's no jobs running, nothing like that. Back at VS Code here, we now have this job that we can create. Now this job is really just an HCL file or a Nomad file that contains some information. So data centers, DC1, that's the default if you use the dev build, the type that you want to deploy, the constraint, the group. Now with the group, that's going to almost be like your spec. So how many replicas you want to deploy or how many containers, what driver you want to use. So in this case, we're using Docker because, again, remember with Nomad, you can deploy just VM-based applications as well. They don't even have to be containerized. And then here I'm specifying the Nginx container image that I want to use and the resource constraints here. So again, I don't want to compare to Kubernetes all that much, but if you're coming from the Kubernetes space and you're looking at this, this could look, you're going to see some familiar things in here like you would see in a Kubernetes manifest, like the replica count and the container image, resource that you want to use, etc. So you have a few different ways that you can deploy this. You could either copy this here, and then you could do something like sudo vi test.nomad, type in my password here, and then I could just paste this in, for example. I can save it, and then we have that test.nomad right here, and then you could run nomad run test.nomad to deploy the job. Or what you could do is you could do it in the UI. The UI is, of course, more of like a manual way. So if you're doing this in an automated fashion, you're deploying your containerized applications in an automated fashion, you probably want to do it via the command line or another method. But if I open up Nomad here, I can click run job. I can paste this in, and then I can click plan. I can click run, and now we see that our application is being deployed. And that's how you can get started using Nomad and deploying an application. Thank you so much for watching.